Hey guys, we're back in the workshop, and today I wanted to start a chef knife, and it's a, I would say, kind of modern chef knife look. We will have a two-tone finish and we'll have my classic rock pattern on the handle that's going to look really nicely. This is an 8-inch chef's knife, so the blade length is 8 inches, so that is around 20 centimeters, which is the typical length of a chef knife. So first of all, we have to drill out the holes, then we're going to heat treat it, because I'm going to heat treat this knife, and then we're going to grind it, because the chef knives are quite thin, and if you would grind it really thinly and then heat treat, we could have a lot of bends and warps in it. So I'm heat treating it and then I'm going to grind it after the heat treat. So let's start drilling out these holes and heat treat that knife. Alright, so the holes are drilled now and countersunk, and I'm going to spray on an anti-scale coating, and that is just going to prevent the steel from decarburization, because we are running the oven at a really high temperature, so the steel could decarburize if you wouldn't put any scale coating or stainless steel foil around it, and that just helps to preserve the steel while we are doing the heat treat.
So you wanna go to war with me? You're talking like you think you're royalty. You think that I'm afraid, but I don't break. I heard you question my stability. You think I'll fall just like a guillotine, but I am here to stay, won't look away. The storm is coming, so you better start running. No, you can't control, feel it in my bones. I'm coming for the,
Alright, so now I just wanted to quickly explain how I grind these knives. So a normal knife, I would say, has a saber grind, so just this portion here is ground, and then we have a flat. So if we would look at, if we would cut it like that, you would have the knife look like that. So you have a flat, and then you have the angle ground on, and then we will sharpen it right here. Now with the kitchen knife, you want to have it as thinly as possible, and the more thinner the knife is, the better it cuts. So we are drawing up the hole, so this whole bevel will be ground. That gives us a distal taper to the front, so the knife thins from here. We start out here with 3 millimeters, and then we will have it super thinly, like 1.2 in the end or so. So that is super thin. And then we also, the geometry of the knife changes, so we'll have it much flatter and much thinner knife in the end, which just suits you really well while you're cutting vegetables, meat, all that kind of stuff, because this is more like a wood splitting tool, I would say. And then with this one, you want to have it really nice and thin and a really nice slicer, you know. You wouldn't go out with this one into the woods and chop some wood. Of course that would destroy the knife, but this knife is not meant for that, so we can grind it thinner, and we are making it suitable for the purpose it's going to be used at. So that's why I'm doing a full flat grind, and then we'll have a nice geometry in the end, really thin, and a super nice slicing tool in the end. Alright, so the knives have been scribed. We have a center line on a knife where we can grind to, and you've also seen me scribing a line on the spine of the knife, and we will grind in a distal taper, so the knife won't stay the thickness. From the 3 millimeters we will taper it down, and with the line, with the center line, we can check, and it's easier to check if everything is straight and nice and even from both sides. And this center line will help us immensely with this task. So I scribed actually 2 center lines, one on the spine and one where the edge will be in the end. And you also see I have a file guide on the knife here, and that just helps me with refining the plunge line and have a nice and even plunge on the knife itself. I've also taped up the handle where we have sandblasted it, so we have a nice finish, because after we hand sanded everything, it is really hard to then sandblast the handle again and get that finish back, because we don't want to ruin the hand sanded finish we'll put on this knife. So I taped it to protect it, and then we can just grind our knife.
Broke all the cages, no, I will sit and take it. No, no. They left me for dead, I guess I'll never learn. Every time I break, there's just more pain to burn. They'll never, never, never learn. To the battles won, till kingdom come. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, they'll be calling me royalty.
Alright, so we got the knife here. We still have to hand sand it, but before I will do the hand sanding, I want to do the fitting of the handle scales, and that is just so I don't mess up the hand sanded finish while I'm working on the handles. So that's why I'm just cutting it out, doing the rough profile, and also doing the finish or the end of the knife right here, because that we can't do after glue up, so we have to do that before. So we are just going to cut the handle scales out of this beautiful blue micarta, and then we're just going to drill the holes and do a rough profile on it, so this scale set is ready to be glued up. Then we are just going to do the hand sanding, and after we have hand sanded the knife, we can then glue it up and finish it when the glue is dried.
Of your good side, I start wondering how I could make it last a little longer. Say you wanna fix our problems, how long should I be waiting? Feels like I've had too much of drama, but I'm not ready to give in.
Alright, so what you have seen me just do is I've drilled some holes in this side where the handle is going to be glued, and these holes will just help or give the glue a little bit more grip. So because we already have like a rough 400 grit finish on this knife, we can start with already a high grit. So I'm starting with 320 grit, and then I work my way up from there, but we'll probably get all the scratches out with 320, and then we can get a really nice sanded finish.
Say I'm good-hearted, but I'm just getting started. Got my eyes on the target. No, no. Till the battle's won, till kingdom come.
Alright, so the knife is hand sanded, the scales are sandblasted, and everything is cleaned up. As you can see, I have taped up the blade so we don't smother on some glue while we're doing the glue up or scratch the blade up. And we are going to use the G-Flex epoxy. It's a two-part epoxy you're going to see here, and this is a 24-hour epoxy, so this is a really strong epoxy. And we'll glue it up, and then we can finish up the handle tomorrow because this one has to cure 24 hours. Alright guys, so the glue has been cured, and now we are going to start shaping the handle. First of all, we are going to move to the flat platen, do all the rough work, and then we are going to move to the small wheel attachment and add that rock pattern. And that's going to look really amazing, especially on this chef's knife with this cool blue turquoise mica. It's really a vibrant color, and especially a rock pattern for a chef knife is, I think, kind of unique. And that's just going to give this knife a really bump up, and it's just going to look amazing when we are done with it. So let's start shaping the knife.
They let me for dead, I guess I'll never learn. Every time I break, there's just more pain to burn. They'll never, never, never learn. Till the battle's won, till kingdom come. I'll never run. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, calling me. They'll be calling me royalty. Best to give me your loyalty, 'cause I'm taking the world, you'll see. They'll be calling me, calling me. They'll be calling me royalty.
Alright guys, so the knife handle has been shaped. I've also sandblasted the handle, therefore I taped up the blade because we don't want to sandblast our hand sanded finish. And now we are going to apply a dark wash around the knife because we want to have a two-tone finish. I want to have a dark finish on the spine all around the knife and also on the ricasso area, and then we are going to re-hand sand over the flats, so we're going to have a really cool, interesting look on this knife. So let's start with the acid wash. We're using therefore ferrochloride mixed with apple cider vinegar. That just gives me a really dark finish. And then we are going to take it out, clean it, and then re-hand sand this knife. So let's wash this knife. Alright, so as you can see, the knife is blackened or kind of grayish look, and we are going to do now the hand sanding part again, but therefore we've already hand sanded the knife, so this won't take that long. So we're just going to put on some lubricant. I'm just using WD-40, and then we are going to do again just single passes, and we're just going to get rid of all that gray on this knife again. Alright, so now the knife is actually nearly done and we have it hand sanded. Now again we have a really cool two-tone finish. Now what is left to do is sharpening the knife, and for that I'm using the Hall sharpener, which is a really cool system, especially for those kitchen knives, because I get a lot of questions like, how do I sharpen my kitchen knives? And this system is super simple, and if you get one of my knives, I would recommend getting one of these sharpeners. They're like 140 bucks, which is kind of fair because they last a really long time. You can sharpen all your knives with it, and my kitchen knives are already ground with the same angle, so it's just super simple, and it takes you then 1 or 2 minutes to resharpen your knife and have a really razor edge knife back again. So I really recommend that, especially for the kitchen knives. So with the sharpening, you can see this block, and this block has some magnets on. We have 2 angles on each side, 15 degrees and 20 degrees, and then what you just do, you attach your knife to it and it stays on here just like that. And then you have the actual sharpener, and what this sharpener does, it rolls. And you have diamonds on here. You can also change it out later to finer grits, 3000 and 6000. And then what you actually do is you just roll alongside the edge, and that will sharpen your knife, and you will have a maintained angle, which is really nice, and you don't have to worry about keeping the same angle. And it's just super simple and easy, so we'll just show you. And that's basically what you're doing, and that's how you sharpen, and then you can work your way up. I have now a rough one on there, then there's a fine diamond, and then I'm just going to use the 3000 and 6000 stones on this one, and then the knife will be super sharp. And that is what I call a sharp knife, and we are done with the knife. I'm pretty happy with how the knife turned out in the end. I'm really happy with the two-tone finish, the vibrant look of the micarta. It's just looking fantastic, and it is, I think, a really cool modern chef's knife. It still has the outline of a classic chef's knife, but with the rock pattern, with the two-tone finish, it just gives it a really modern and unique look. So guys, I really thank you for watching. If you're interested in more content, you can check out my website, and my Instagram, which is all posted down below in the description. If you have any questions, ask them down below. I try to answer them as quickly as possible. So guys, as I said before, thank you for watching, and we'll see us in the next video. Bye.